5 years into our marriage, Nathan had always been the so-called perfect husband in everyone's eyes, aside from being a total workaholic. That was until one particular day. It happened during a company retreat when we were all playing a round of truth or dare. The new intern insisted I join her in pretending to be drunk and calling our partners for help. Nathan didn't even pick up. After a few rings, the call was cut off. All he left me with was a single word and a message: busy. And in the very next moment, from the intern's phone came a familiar male voice. "I'm on my way to get you." I instinctively turned my head toward her. She was staring straight at me, her eyes filled with blatant provocation. That was when I realized this marriage needed to end. I had only decided to join the retreat at the last minute. After a full day of activities, I was exhausted. I had just wanted to eat and go home. But then a girl suddenly squeezed in beside me. Just as I was about to shift over a bit, someone nearby quickly warned her, "Hey, Emily, that's our VP, Madison. Don't crowd her." I smiled politely. "It's all right. We're here to relax. Let's just enjoy ourselves." The girl named Emily had already taken a seat beside me. She was undeniably pretty with large, expressive eyes that sparkled when she smiled. Clear, innocent, and effortlessly likable. I asked her with a smile, "You're new here?" She reached out her hand and replied, "Yeah, I'm the new intern, just turned 21 this year." I nodded, and then out of nowhere she chirped, "Let's play truth or dare. VP Madison, you and I can set the example for everyone." Before I could say a word, she casually picked up my phone from the table and handed it to me with a raised brow. "Come on, VP Madison. It's just a dare." I had to admit I admired her boldness like a calf unafraid of a tiger. Since everyone was watching, I didn't want to spoil the mood. So I took the phone. "How does it go?" I asked. "We both pretend we're drunk and call our boyfriends to come get us," she said eagerly, her tone full of confident energy. But I've dealt with all types of people, and from her enthusiasm, I could sharply and clearly detect a trace of smugness and challenge. So the rumors were true. Those bold young workers out to shake up the workplace had made their way into our company. I didn't feel angry, just found it mildly amusing. I pulled up Nathan's number and dialed. Since it was a dare, I turned on speaker. People around started teasing. "Emily, playing this kind of game with our VP, Madison, you're walking straight into a trap. You haven't met Madison's husband, have you, Nathan? He's the CEO. A textbook example of the perfect doting husband. Forget pretending to be drunk. VP Madison could call him for no reason at all, and he'd drop everything to come running." While they laughed, the busy tone from my phone kept beeping. The call didn't go through, and then it was disconnected. A few seconds later, I received a WeChat message from Nathan. Just one word, busy. I let out a laugh. I lost. "My turn now," Emily said, her voice lifting slightly with excitement. Several people shot her subtle glances, silently telling her to stop, but Emily was still young. She didn't yet understand the unspoken rules of the workplace. She didn't know how to read the room. Her call went through. Her voice turned sweet and syrupy. "I'm drunk. Can you come pick me up?" She could. Only after saying that did she tilt her head and meet my eyes, her chin slightly raised, brows arched, a look of pure provocation. I suddenly realized Emily was targeting me, but I had no idea why. I had never seen her before. Aside from group events, there would be no reason for her to even interact with me in the future. The next second, a deep male voice came through her phone. "I'm coming to get you." That voice sent a chill down my spine, as if I'd been splashed with a bucket of cold water while walking calmly down the street. I knew that voice too well. It was my husband, Nathan. "Okay, I'll wait for you," Emily replied sweetly and hung up. Then she turned to me again. That look of satisfaction and smugness was written all over her face with no intention of hiding it, like a victorious general savoring a win. In that moment, I finally understood why she had targeted me. She wasn't here to stir up the workplace. She was here to stir up my marriage, and all I felt was a mix of anger and amusement. The fact that Nathan didn't answer my call, but responded to another woman's call without hesitation. I hadn't even had time to feel the rightful anger such a betrayal should provoke. I glanced at Emily's phone screen and, smiling slightly, reminded her, "You forgot to tell your boyfriend the address." I deliberately emphasized the word boyfriend. Emily looked at me like I was an idiot and smiled. "Oh, right. Good thing you reminded me. I'll send him my location now, right in front of me." She cheerfully opened her WeChat, pulled up Nathan's contact, and sent him her location. She even turned her phone slightly so I could see the contact name. Nathan had saved her under Sweetheart. Some of the people around had started looking at Emily strangely. Even if they hadn't picked up on her deliberate provocation toward me, her obvious attitude of trying to cozy up to the boss's boss had already made her look bad. To everyone here, she came off as tone-deaf and socially clumsy. Even without me saying a word, this little intern was going to have a hard time surviving in the company. That is, unless her boyfriend backed her up. It was in that moment that the anger I hadn't had time to feel earlier began to burn slowly inside me, flickering at first, then growing more intense with every passing second. About 40 minutes later, the door to the private room opened. Emily, who had been chatting loudly to get attention, looked up and her face lit up. The others glanced over to see who it was, and one by one they stood up. Someone laughed and said, "Who said our VP Madison lost? Look, Mr. Carter came to pick her up after all. VP Madison's just not one to make a fuss over things, but if this were a real competition, who could beat her? Mr. Carter, you must have been worried about Madison, huh?" Nathan entered the room with that usual gentle, polished smile of his and gave everyone a polite nod. Then he walked straight over to me. His voice, low and warm, carried the same tenderness and care he always used when speaking to me. "How much did you drink?" He helped me to my feet, then turned to everyone and said, "Madison has a sensitive stomach. She'll stop drinking here tonight. I'll take her home first. You all keep having fun. Don't worry, Mr. Carter, well, keep the party going. VP Madison, get some good rest." Haha, look at that. Mr. Carter is so protective. We should probably explain. Mr. Carter, VP Madison didn't drink that much. We were just playing a round of truth or dare. Emily, you lost, so it's time for your penalty drink. I stood up and lowered my gaze toward Emily. She was staring at Nathan with a look of pitiful grievance, like some poor little thing who'd just been wronged. Honestly, it was kind of pathetic. I couldn't help letting out a soft chuckle. It was just a game. No need to take it so seriously. Go ahead and keep playing. Or if you want, we can give you a ride home. Emily pouted and finally tore her gaze away from Nathan's face. With forced stubbornness, she said, "No need. I can get home by myself." I lost, and I accept my punishment. She grabbed the glass in front of her and downed it in one go, then poured herself another. "I'll drink 3 more as penalty," she added. I tilted my head slightly and glanced at Nathan. It was obvious Emily was trying to throw a tantrum, but Nathan didn't seem to look at her even once. From the moment he walked in and saw me, his gaze hadn't left me. When our eyes met, Nathan's expression remained gentle. "Let's go." I said goodbye to the group and left without another word. Nathan picked up my purse and followed behind me. Neither of us spoke on the way home. Once we got through the door, Nathan offered an explanation. "Emily is the daughter of my college advisor. She's just interning at the company. My professor asked me to look after her." I slipped off my heels and walked toward the stairs. "Let someone else look after her, Nathan." "All right," he replied. "Oh, by the way." I stopped at the first step, turned around, and looked down at him from above. "Emily said she's your girlfriend. The contact name you gave her in WeChat is Sweetheart." I looked him right in the eye. "How far have things gone between the two of you?" Nathan's face darkened inch by inch. "Don't talk nonsense. I'm only looking after her because she's my advisor's daughter. Then make it clear to her. Don't let her get the wrong idea that she has any chance of coming between us. She's just a young girl who doesn't know any better. But Nathan, you should understand what boundaries mean for adults." I turned and went upstairs, headed straight into the bathroom, then lay on the bed and turned off the lights. Nathan climbed into bed and wrapped his arms around me from behind. "Still mad?" he asked softly. His long fingers slid under the hem of my nightgown, resting lightly on my lower belly. "I'm sorry I made you feel upset," he said. I only went to pick her up because she's young and new to the workplace. I was worried something might actually happen to her and I wouldn't be able to explain that to her father, my professor. But you're not like her. You're Madison. You're strong. You'd never let anything happen to yourself. I knew being strong had always been my goal, to be powerful, invincible. But in that moment, the softest part of me stirred. I turned around and buried myself in his chest. Nathan, I'm still human. I have moments when I'm weak and vulnerable too. All I wanted in those moments when I was tired and needed rest was for the person beside me to be him, my husband, Nathan. Because I loved him. Nathan held me tighter. I know there won't be a next time. I'll make it clear to her tomorrow. I'll have her apologize to you. I nodded. Okay. The next morning, after finishing a meeting, I returned to my office. Not long after, Nathan came in with Emily beside him. Emily, Nathan said in a calm voice, apologize to your sister-in-law. Emily walked up to me with a bright, sweet smile. Sorry, sis. Last night was my bad. Please don't be mad, okay? You're older and wiser. Don't hold a grudge against someone young like me. She batted her lashes and added in a sing-gong tone. I say all kinds of silly things. Can't you just treat it like childish nonsense, sis? Nathan reminded her. Change the contact name. Without missing a beat, Emily pulled out her phone and right in front of me changed Nathan's contact name from Sweetheart to Nathan. Bro, sis, see, I changed it. Won't happen again. Nathan nodded. Good. You can go back to work now. But Emily walked over to my side and with that fake familiar ease, bent down and linked her arm through mine. Nope. I still have so much to talk about with sis. You wouldn't understand our girl talk anyway. Go on. Get out of here. Nathan's brows drew together slightly. Emily unlinked her arm and instead draped it casually across my shoulder. What? Don't tell me you're afraid I'll bully your wife, she said teasingly. Am I really that scary? Besides, sis here clearly has a strong personality. She's older than me, too. How would I dare bully someone more mature than me? Just then, Nathan's phone rang. As always, he was busy. He said something brief to me, gave Emily a long, heavy look, then left. As soon as the door closed, Emily circled around and sat in the chair across from me. She glanced around my office and said, This office is huge. You're really the career woman type, huh? A wave of disgust rose in my chest. I answered coldly, I'm busy. Please leave. Suddenly, Emily said, I like Nathan. I didn't even look up. I know, but I'm busy right now. Please leave. She clearly hadn't expected me to respond like that. After a moment's pause, she asked, I said, I like Nathan. Aren't you going to react at all? I almost laughed, speechless, and amused at the same time. Because you're not the first woman who's tried to become Nathan's mistress. A man like Nathan, married or not, was always going to attract women. I was well aware of that, just like there were plenty of men who wanted to be my affair partner, too. Both Nathan and I knew this, but in the 5 years we'd been married, our hearts had never wavered. We'd always been heading in the same direction. Both of us could clearly see each other's effort and commitment to this marriage. But Emily was different, or at least she thought she was. You don't think I'm like those other women, do you? She said with a smirk, her voice bright with that same fearless confidence of a girl too young to know what she was messing with. She still had that relentless, headstrong energy that only someone completely new and untested in the real world could carry. I'm not like those other women, Emily said confidently. Let's make a bet. Give me 3 months and I swear I'll win Nathan over. If I lose, I'll leave this place and never see him again. But if you lose, you have to divorce him and give him to me. She raised her eyebrows at me, challenging, Do you dare? I gave a small smile and kindly reminded her, Your competition isn't me. It's all the other women who also want to be his mistress. Emily lifted her chin. Nathan doesn't like them. He likes you. He just doesn't like me yet. That's why I'm asking you for 3 months. Do whatever you want, I said flatly, lowering my head and returning to my work, refusing to waste another second on her. You'll see, she huffed before storming out. The fire inside me flared up again. I tossed the file in my hands onto the desk. How was Nathan still not handling such a small issue? I picked up the internal line and told my assistant, Jenna, from now on, "Don't let Emily upstairs again." Jenna replied with a firm, "Yes, ma'am." Then added, "She's just an intern. She doesn't have clearance to come up here anyway." Today was only because Mr. Garter brought her. That afternoon, Jenna suddenly came in and said, "VP Madison, Mr. Carter just lost it on the project team." I stood up immediately. "What happened?" Jenna hesitated for a moment, then said, "You should probably go see for yourself." As I headed out, I heard her mutter under her breath, "It's all because of that, Emily." I turned to glance at her. She looked like she wanted to say more, but was holding it in. "If you've got something to say, just say it." Jenna bit her lip. "VP Madison. Honestly, I figured it out. Last night, during dinner, the call Emily made, it was to Mr. Murder, and a lot of people noticed. I felt a sharp pang in my chest. Oddly enough, my first reaction wasn't anger, it was humiliation. Nathan had to give me a clean resolution to this. After all, I was being dragged into this embarrassment because of him. When I reached the project department, I could already hear Nathan's cold voice echoing down the hallway. "Don't let something like this ever happen again, or you can all get the hell out." Yes, Nathan was furious. Absolutely livid, but he'd never lose control or yell just to make noise. Even when he was angry, his power came from presence, not volume. When I walked in, I saw Emily tugging gently at the sleeve of Nathan's suit. "Don't be mad, Nathan." "I'm okay. They wouldn't have bullied me for no reason, right?" Nathan turned to her, and a second later, his eyes found mine. He walked over to me slowly, his expression sharp and cold. Then, in front of everyone, he announced, "From this moment forward, Emily is my special assistant. Emily, bring your things upstairs." "Oh!" Emily chirped clearly, pleased, and rushed off to pack up her desk. Nathan turned back to the rest of the department. Did everyone understand what I just said? The room was packed with people, all with their heads lowered. "Yes, yes, we understand, Mr. Carter," came the chorus of voices. A few minutes later, Emily returned with her things and beamed up at Nathan. "Let's go upstairs." But Nathan didn't even glance at her. His eyes found mine again, calm and unreadable. "You go on ahead," he said to Emily. Then he turned to me. "Come to your office. I need to talk to you." I looked away from him and addressed the room. "It's fine, everyone. Get back to work." But with Nathan standing there, not a single person dared to sit down. Everyone was waiting for him to give the word. I broke the silence. I was the one in the wrong for overreacting. "You all get back to work." Only then did everyone slowly take their seats. I turned to the department manager and said, "I'm still waiting on your revised proposal." With that, I turned and walked out. Nathan followed behind me all the way to my office. Once inside, he closed the door and finally spoke. "I told you Emily is just my professor's daughter. I only looked after her out of respect for him. Professor Shen, there's no need," he continued, "to make things so difficult for a young girl who's just entered the workforce over something that barely matters." I sat down in my chair and asked coldly, Difficult? Tell me, how exactly did I make things difficult for her?" Nathan stepped toward me, but didn't sit in the chair across from me. "If it wasn't because of something you said, why would the project team go out of their way to pick on an intern?" I could hear his heavy breathing. "This company does not tolerate workplace bullying, especially when the one instigating it is you." He exhaled hard. "This is the first time. You're not just the VP, you're also my wife. Of course, I have to give you some leeway." He tapped his index finger on the desk 3 times, an unmistakable warning. "But there won't be a second time." It was getting hard to breathe, but I still laughed. "Won't be a next time. And if there is a next time, what then? You planning to hit me or divorce me?" "Madison," Nathan started, but I cut him off. "First of all, I never instigated anyone to bully her. Second, during dinner, Emily announced she was calling her boyfriend, and you answered. Everyone in the department heard it. They were defending me. The outburst you just had was already enough. Don't punish them further. 1859. I leaned back in my chair and accusing me without investigating. That was your first mistake. I stared him straight in the eye. Let me return the words to you. There won't be a second time. Nathan, I said more quietly now. I don't want Emily as your assistant. That was all I said, but it was more than enough. Nathan looked like he wanted to say something else, but I cut him off again. Leave. I'm busy. He looked at me for a moment in silence, then turned and walked out. My chest was rising and falling rapidly. In my entire life, I'd never felt this furious, but I wasn't mad because of Emily. I was angry because Nathan had let Emily become the reason I felt this way. I couldn't focus on a single word on the documents in front of me. I hated this feeling. Utterly hated it. This situation had to be resolved completely. And with those same words, there won't be a second time. Because if this ever happened again, I would not continue living like this with Nathan. I, Madison Shen, would never allow myself to be wronged. Not even a little, no matter how much I loved that man. But maybe Nathan was no longer someone worth loving. That thought suddenly surfaced from the depths of my heart. It scared me a little, and I found myself resisting it just a bit. I really wished none of this had ever happened. A few minutes later, the door to my office was abruptly shoved open. Emily stormed in, crying. "Madison Shen," she yelled, "who gave you the right to stop me from being Nathan's assistant? What are you so afraid of? You're the one who told them to bully me." I looked past her at Nathan, who had followed her in. "Nathan Carter," I said calmly. "Is this really something you can't handle?" "At the very least," I continued, "she's your subordinate. She has no clearance to enter my office without permission." "You don't need me to teach her that, do you?" "Get her out of here. I don't want my work interrupted." Nathan's expression turned cold, colder than I'd ever seen it. And for the first time, he looked at me with something close to ice in his eyes. "Emily, that's enough!" "Go back to work." He gave me one final look, withdrew his gaze, and turned to leave. Emily still had tears on her face, but her lips curled up in a smug smile. The look of victory was unmistakable. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "Since you don't like me, sis, I guess I'll just leave." Nathan's voice came low and emotionless. "You're my assistant." "You don't need anyone to like you," Nathan said coldly. "Nathan, please don't say that." Emily's voice trembled. "I know I've already caused trouble for you and your wife." "I'll leave." She covered her mouth with her hand and ran out crying. Nathan turned back from the doorway to look at me. I met his gaze. "Jenna," I called out, and she came over immediately to close the door, cutting off our eye contact. The fire in my chest blazed even hotter. At that moment, I knew Nathan really wasn't worth loving anymore. And I wasn't afraid of that thought anymore. I didn't resist it either. I picked up my phone and called my personal attorney. That night, Nathan didn't come home. In the 5 years we'd been married, apart from business trips, it was the first time he hadn't come home. I lay in bed alone, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. I was a little heartbroken, a little sad, but more than anything, I was angry and unwilling to accept it. What gave Nathan the right to make me suffer like this? Who did he think he was? Just a husband. What right did he have to make me feel this wronged? If this husband didn't work out, I'd just get a new one or not have one at all. A husband wasn't some irreplaceable necessity. I forced myself to lie still and close my eyes to sleep, but I hardly slept that night. The next morning, when I got up and looked at my tired face in the mirror, my resentment toward Nathan only deepened. But I still had to go to work. There was too much waiting on me at the company. I put on a flawless face of makeup, dressed sharply, and arrived at the office looking radiant. It wasn't until the meeting that I saw Nathan. His expression was still cold. It was clear he was in a bad mood. I glanced at him once, then sat in my seat without a word. When the meeting ended, I stood up and walked straight out. From start to finish, we didn't exchange a single word. Bookmark. Go back. At noon, when Jenna brought me lunch, she hesitated and said, "VP Madison, people have been talking." "I know," I said flatly. Of course, they were talking about the obvious. Nathan and I weren't getting along. Anyone could guess that it was bound to affect the company in some way. But I didn't care. This was Carter Group. I only came here after marrying Nathan. His father had passed away and his mother wasn't in good health. He, like me, was an only child. My parents were still healthy, and my own company didn't require me to take over just yet. So I came here. That was the Carter family's arrangement, too. As for shares, the two companies naturally had intertwined interests, but I only held 3% of Carter Group's shares. If we divorced, I could just sell them. Then I'd buy back the 3% of Shen Group Out shares Nathan held. Simple. As for whether our companies would continue cooperating afterward, I had no objections. Nathan and I might not be compatible as a couple anymore, but we still worked well together in business. That thought brought me a strange sense of relief. Of course, the lawyer still needed some time to sort through the assets under both our names, but I wasn't in a hurry. To me, Nathan was now nothing more than a business partner. That afternoon, I suddenly received a call from an unknown number. To my surprise, it was Nathan's former professor, Emily's father, Mr. James Song. He said his daughter had caused me some trouble lately and invited both Nathan and me over for dinner that evening. I agreed. A child's lack of discipline is the fault of the parent. Mr. Song truly owed me an apology face-to-face. At exactly 5 p.m., Nathan knocked on my office door. "Let's go." I packed up quickly and grabbed my bag to leave. In the car, I kept my eyes on the window. Nathan didn't say a word either. I thought he must be in love with Emily by now, otherwise he wouldn't be treating me with such cold silence. It hurt, of course, but what I felt more strongly than anything was the refusal to lose. I've always been competitive, even as a child. I couldn't stand being crushed in any aspect of life. This one included. The car pulled to a stop. I opened the car door myself and got out. This time I followed behind Nathan as we walked toward the house. Jenna was updating me on some work matters via text, so I kept my head down, reading her messages while walking. Suddenly, Nathan reached out and steadied me. "Careful," he said, pressing his lips together. "You're off work now. You shouldn't be checking emails." I didn't respond. I finished replying to Jenna and finally put my phone away. Nathan didn't say anything else. When we arrived at Emily's home, it was Emily who answered the door. The moment she saw Nathan, she lowered her head like a child who'd been wronged. Her father, James Song, and his wife were already seated on the couch. "Nathan, you're here. Madison, have a seat." Nathan handed over the gifts we brought. The housekeeper had already prepared dinner. At the table, James turned to me and said, "Madison, our daughter Emily has been spoiled by us. She really doesn't know any better. Please don't take it to heart. She's refused to go back to work today no matter what we said." She cried her eyes out. Her mom and I couldn't bear to see her like that. That's why we asked Nathan to look after her. Otherwise, we'd be too worried with her out there on her own. I gave a polite smile. "Honestly, Mr. Song, someone like your daughter might not be suited for the workforce. With the way you've raised her, maybe it's better to just let her stay at home, carefree and comfortable. These days, the workplace can be full of negativity out there. No one's going to cater to her the way you do." "Madison," Nathan said my name softly, a subtle warning in his tone. I smiled at him unbothered. "I'm just saying this for your professor and his wife's own good." James laughed awkwardly. "Madison, I know," I said with the same polite smile. "I've been told I have a strong sense of class distinction. Maybe because I am the capital in most people's eyes. And growing up, my parents never let me suffer the slightest grievance. So, naturally, I find it hard to tolerate people acting superior in front of me just because of age or status." I completely ignored Nathan's warning look and turned to James again. "To be honest, I thought this dinner invitation was for you to apologize on your daughter's behalf. After all, if a child misbehaves, the responsibility lies with the parents. Your daughter tried to become a mistress, Madison." "That's enough," Nathan said in a low voice. Of course, I continued as if I hadn't heard him. "It's not entirely your daughter's fault." I gestured to Nathan beside me. "He's even more to blame." I pushed back my chair and stood up. "I won't be staying for dinner. It's not that I don't appreciate your hospitality. I'm just not used to eating this kind of food. You all go ahead." I gave them a pleasant smile and walked out with my purse, leaving behind a table of stunned and embarrassed faces. Nathan caught up with me in the elevator. His voice was low but furious. Madison Shen, you were completely out of line. You said there was nothing going on between you and Emily, I replied. So why didn't you come home last night? Why didn't you say a single word to me on the way here? Nathan's voice was sharp. Because you were wrong. Oh, really? I said, genuinely interested. Tell me exactly what I was wrong about. Did I wrongly accuse you of having something with another woman? Nathan, don't tell me you haven't noticed Emily's feelings for you. If you really couldn't tell, feel free to check the surveillance in my office. The day you left, she confessed it herself. Said she liked you, and even bet me she could win you over. I laughed. You didn't come home. You ignored me. Was that your way of punishing me, Nathan? Let me ask you. Between me and your professor and his daughter, who matters more to you? I won't claim I've never made mistakes, I continued. But in this situation with Emily, I've done nothing wrong. She was the one who provoked me from the start. And as my husband, whether I'm right or wrong, you should stand by me without hesitation. You don't get to play the neutral, fair judge between me and her. There is no balance between me and the Song family. You should lean toward me. Nathan suddenly let out a short laugh. So what you want is for me to indulge you unconditionally. He looked at me, eyes cold. Madison Shen, you're not a little girl anymore. Can you stop being so unreasonable? Even as your husband, I'm not going to blindly take your side no matter what. That's not how I live my life, I said flatly. I shrugged indifferently. It's fine. I don't expect it. If he doesn't want to stand by me unconditionally, there are plenty of people who will. And even if there's no one else, I'll stand by myself. The elevator doors opened and I walked out quickly. The driver was still waiting downstairs. When he saw that I had no intention of getting in the car, he called out to me. I ignored him. Behind me, I heard Nathan's low voice. Don't worry about her. Let her go. I went straight back to my own place. My parents knew me best. The moment they saw my face, they asked, Did you and Nathan have a fight? My dad, ever the light-hearted one, laughed out loud. Nathan actually knows how to argue. That's rare. What happened? Tell us. I plopped down on the couch, crossed my legs, and dropped the calm, powerful demeanor I wore in the outside world. Home was where I could relax. And I'd never been the type to hide bad news to save face. Good or bad, I always told it all. After I told them everything from beginning to end, both my parents agreed that Nathan was in the wrong. I never thought Nathan could be so stupid, my dad muttered. Then he turned to my mom. Is this that 7-year itch thing? Except in 5 years. Kids these days have no staying power. I didn't like what he said. But before I could respond, my mom spoke up sharply. Madison's younger than he is. How come she's not the one losing interest? Cheating is cheating. No excuses, even if he hasn't done it physically, emotionally. He's clearly not with her anymore. My dad coughed and reminded her gently. Let's hear how Madison feels first. I want a divorce, I said directly. I've already spoken to my lawyer. Their expressions grew serious. Have you really decided, Madison? My mom asked. We don't want you to suffer, but we also don't want you to make a rash decision. It's not rash, I said firmly. I want a divorce. I don't love Nathan anymore. When I fall out of love, it's fast and final. I'm especially sensitive when it comes to relationships, I added. I have zero tolerance for anything, whether it's physical or emotional betrayal. My dad nodded slowly. If that's how you feel, leave it to me. Dad, don't go talk to him, I said quickly. I've already made up my mind. If you go to him, it'll look like I'm still not over him. My dad huffed. Who said I was going to talk to him? I pressed my lips together. Just don't. Okay, don't worry, he said. I know what I'm doing. I rubbed my stomach. I haven't eaten yet. Dinner was ready, so I sat down and ate with my parents. Afterward, I went upstairs to my room. I still didn't sleep well that night. But the next morning, I showed up at the office full of energy. Jenna came in and told me, VP Madison, Mr. Carter left on a business trip yesterday. He didn't say when he'd be back. I nodded calmly. So he hadn't come home after all. Let him stay gone then. On the 3rd day of Nathan's business trip, Emily tried to arrange a meeting with me. I rejected her immediately, but she was shameless enough to show up at the company and wait for me. Fine, I'd hear what else she had to say. With a triumphant smile, she said, "Nathan's out on a trip. He said he won't be back for another 2 weeks, but actually he's not on a trip. He just wants to live separately from you. Madison Shen, you lost. According to our bet, you have to divorce him and give him to me." Throughout this entire ordeal, the person I'd been most angry at was Nathan. But Emily, she really didn't know when to quit. "This is between me and Nathan," I said coldly. "Stay out of it," Emily raised an eyebrow. "You're not my mom. Why should I listen to you?" Clearly, this girl had never been knocked down by real life. I laughed lightly. Ever heard the saying, "When gods fight, mortals suffer"? I leaned in slightly. "This is between Nathan and me." Emily just smiled wider. "Even if you two are the gods, if a mere mortal like me can cause a war between two gods like you, then that's my talent, isn't it?" I stared at Emily for a few seconds, quietly, taking in the triumphant glint in her eyes. Then I nodded. "Fine. If you're so determined to involve yourself, I won't stop you. Just don't regret it." After parting ways with Emily, I returned to the office and made a call. I asked someone to run a background check. I had nothing to hide. I was checking up on James Song, Emily's father. Just then, the door to my office swung open. A familiar figure stepped inside, one I hadn't expected to see. "What are you doing here? Did you even make an appointment?" Zachary Shao wore his trademark smirk. "Uncle Shen brought me personally. Who would dare stop me?" "My dad." I was surprised. "Where is he? Why'd he send you?" Zach hopped up onto the edge of my desk. He said, "I'm supposed to be your new personal assistant. Asked you to look after me. I mean, you've always had me tagging along. Might as well make it official." So my dad had made his move. I expected. He was always a step ahead. "I already know everything," Zach said, patting his chest confidently. "Leave it to me. There's nothing I can't handle. I'll make sure you and Nathan get divorced and piss him off in the process." I gave a dry laugh. "I believe you could, but Nathan's on a business trip and not in the office right now," I warned. "Keep it low for the next couple of days." "Don't annoy me," Zach snorted. "Ever since you married that guy named Carter, you've been ignoring me. Now that you're finally getting divorced, I'm here to collect on the 5 years you owe me." I rolled my eyes. "Get out and stop bothering me." Honestly, my dad had chosen the right person. Zach really was good at this kind of thing. Within just a few days, he was already making waves at the office. The company group chat was full of his antics. Nathan, who was originally supposed to return in 2 weeks, came back after just 1. When he walked into my office, Zach was sprawled on the couch playing mobile games. Nathan gave him a sharp look and said coldly, "Leave." Zach paused his game and walked over to my side. "Sis, he's scary," he whispered theatrically. "I'm scared of Mr. Carter." I couldn't help but feel a bit speechless, too. Nathan's expression was stiff, like a volcano on the verge of erupting. "Madison," he said, his voice tense. "Ask him to leave. I need to talk to you." "I'm not leaving," Zach said, scooting even closer to me. "I'm her personal assistant now, and Uncle Shen placed me here so Madison would take care of me." "Why are you talking to me like that? I can't handle being treated unfairly." Nathan let out a low, humorless laugh. "Madison Shen, is this your way of getting back at me?" His voice hardened. "Do you even know what people are saying in the company group chat?" Zach tilted his head and replied playfully. "Probably the same things they said about you and Emily, except now it's me and Madison." "But they should know better," he added, smirking. "Madison's not that kind of person." Nathan looked like he wanted to respond, but before he could say a word, Zach cut him off again. "But I am that kind of person," he said proudly. "I want to come between you two. I want to be the other man. I want to be Madison's affair." Nathan clearly didn't take Zach's words seriously. "I'm not joking," Zach said, dropping his usual light tone. His expression suddenly turned serious. A rare moment of sincerity. "I've liked Madison since we were kids. Always have. Nathan, if I hadn't been too young back then to get married, you would never have had the chance." He stepped right up to Nathan. "But now I'm an adult. I can get married, so I'll say it directly. I want to be Madison's husband. You two should go ahead and divorce." Stopped standing in my way. Nathan's fist suddenly shot out toward Zach's face. I jumped up, rushing toward them, but Zach caught Nathan's punch before it could land. I shoved Nathan hard. "What the hell are you doing?" Nathan no longer looked calm or composed. The usual warmth and grace in his face were gone. What I saw now was anger, raw and volatile. "Didn't you hear what he just said?" "I did," I replied calmly, a faint, unconcerned smile on my face. "But my dad told me to take care of him, so you're not allowed to hit him." Nathan finally realized what was going on. "So this is all revenge, isn't it, Madison? I told you there's nothing going on between me and Emily." He looked over at Zachary, his eyes full of restrained anger and disbelief. But Zach didn't take him seriously at all. That guy had been spoiled by his privileged background. He feared nothing, respected no one, reckless, untamed, and entirely shameless. Still, I had no interest in letting the two of them throw punches in my office. I patted Zach on the shoulder. "You go out for now." "Got it," he replied sweetly, flashing a grin and shooting Nathan a provocative glance before strolling out. Nathan took a deep breath. "Madison, let's talk this through about me and Emily. Nathan, let's get a divorce." I didn't want to hear another word. I didn't love him anymore. Truly and completely. Exhaustion clouded Nathan's face. "Don't say things you don't mean. I know what happened with Emily upset you, but our lawyer is almost done sorting out the assets." I interrupted. "Once that's finished, we'll file the paperwork." Only now did it finally sink in for him. I wasn't acting out of impulse. I had already contacted the lawyer long ago. His voice trembled with disbelief. "Just because of something so small." "Small?" I scoffed. "If it was so small, why did you throw a punch just now?" Nathan clenched his fists. "I know nothing happened physically between you and Emily, but in how you handled it, you sided with her. You let me be humiliated. That's enough of a reason to divorce. What's so hard to understand about that?" Nathan's tone softened. "Madison, I don't have a father. My mentor has always treated me like a son. He's been like a father to me. He's not my father." I cut him off. "If he were your actual father, I wouldn't have married you in the first place. He doesn't like me, and I don't like him. What I wanted," I said clearly, "was to be the most important person in your life, at least more important than outsiders. I did that. What about you, Nathan?" His dark eyes wavered, and he didn't say a word. "Maybe you still think this is a small thing," I continued, "but you gave me the cold shoulder for Emily. You lost your temper at me. You humiliated me in front of the entire project team and your driver. You deliberately ignored me in meetings." I took a deep breath to suppress the rage rising in my chest. "You wanted to teach me a lesson. Well, thank you. I've learned it, but I'm done." Panic crossed Nathan's face. He reached for my hand. "Madison, please. I, Madison Shen, always aim for the best in everything I do. Back then, you were the best in my heart. That's why I married you. But now, you're no longer the best. To me, you're trash, worthless. That's why I want a divorce." I pulled away from his hand and walked past him, striding out without looking back. Nathan came to my family's house to find me. I refused to see him. My parents didn't let him explain either. "You don't need to defend yourself," I said coldly through the door. "Since your mentor and his daughter matter so much to you, go be with them." My father blocked the doorway. "Madison has people who care about her too. Do you think this feels good, Nathan?" Nathan closed his eyes in frustration. "Sir, I really have learned my lesson. I know how much I hurt Madison, and yes, I feel terrible, but I don't want a divorce. I can't let her go. I truly love her. You've seen how I've treated her all these years. I just made one small mistake. Please help me talk to her. Just give me one more chance. A small mistake?" My mother's voice turned sharp. "You still think this was a small mistake? You took someone else's side against Madison. You helped an outsider hurt her. You call that a small mistake?" My father shouted, voice full of fury. Hearing that, I quietly closed my bedroom door, shutting out the noise and everything else. At that moment, I truly felt clear-headed. My parents were the only ones who stood by me unconditionally. They would never side with outsiders, never gang up on me, never humiliate me like that. In the days that followed, I stopped going to Carter Group. Nathan didn't go back either. Instead, he stood outside my house every day waiting. I never stepped out to see him, not even once. Then one day I got a call. The investigation I'd ordered was complete. If Emily wanted so badly to insert herself into this battle of the gods, then fine. I'd let her have it. James Song had indeed treated Nathan very well. But that didn't mean it had nothing to do with Nathan being from the Carter family. When it came to average students, his attitude was totally different. He not only stole students' research for his own, he also abused his power to pressure female students, hiding behind the mask of mentorship. In order to graduate, those girls had no choice but to endure. And this was where the Shen family name came in handy. Once we got involved, those students stopped swallowing their grievances. The story snowballed. The school couldn't cover it up anymore. That's when James Song reached out to me. As I left the house to meet him, Nathan was still standing outside. But now, even the sight of him irritated me. Forgiveness wasn't even a consideration anymore. I drove right past him without a word. At the private club where we were meeting, I arrived first. James was the one asking for help, but he was late. Someone else showed up before him. It was Nathan. "Madison, give me 10 minutes, he pleaded. Let me just say what's in my heart. His voice was rushed, full of desperation. I know I really hurt you because of Emily. I admit it. I was wrong. I deserve whatever you think of me. But could you see it as a first mistake? Could you give me another chance?" You sat down beside me and reached for my hand. "Please. We've been married 5 years. You know what I've been like during those 5 years. You know I love you. I really truly love you." As for Emily, he went on, I knew from the start that she liked me, but I still agreed to take care of her because I was confident. Confident I could stay true to you and manage her feelings. But Madison, I'm only human. I have moments of weakness too. I swear this was the first time and it'll be the last. Please forgive me. Give me a chance to make it up to you. Let me prove myself. Who told you that being human means you get to be weak? I said quietly. I wasn't. After marrying you, I was completely devoted to you. Even now, I can face my feelings head on. I loved you deeply, passionately. Loved, I emphasized. That's in the past, Nathan. Because now I don't care whether you love me or not. Because I don't love you anymore. His eyes turned red. His gaze shimmered. He couldn't accept it. Just because I lost focus for a moment. I nodded. That's right. Just because of that. I told you Madison Shen always wants the best. And now you're not the best anymore. There are so many men in this world. If one is flawed, I'll find another. And if I don't, that's fine too. It's not a big deal. Nathan Carter, I want a divorce. I've made up my mind. Just then, the door to the private room swung open. James Song entered, dragging Emily along with him. The moment he saw Nathan, his face lit up. "Nathan, help me talk to Madison. Don't let the school expel me." Emily pouted, clearly unwilling. "Nathan, talk to your wife. She can't be so childish. All this over something so small." But Nathan cut her off with a cold voice. "Emily, you have no right to speak about my wife." I stood up, irritated. "You three talk it out. I'm leaving." James Song stepped forward to block me. "Madison, please speak to the school on our behalf." I let out a cold laugh. "Your daughter said it herself. She's not afraid of gods fighting. She said, if a mortal like her can cause gods to fight, it proves her worth." I turned to Emily. "Isn't that right?" Emily's face turned bright red with embarrassment. I brushed past James Song and walked straight out. Nathan chased after me, but behind us came the sharp sound of a slap, followed by James's furious shout. "Have I spoiled you too much?" Nathan still refused to sign the divorce papers. He even had his mother come beg me, but I'd already made up my mind. I truly didn't love him anymore. Once our assets were divided, I filed for divorce, but Nathan wouldn't agree. In the end, I had to get someone to drag him to the Civil Affairs Bureau. "Nathan Carter, if you don't sign, they'll witness it and file it as your consent anyway." The clerk stepped in to stop me. "Sorry, that's not allowed." "Stay out of it," I snapped. "Whether or not I get a divorce is my business. I want out, and that's that. No one gets a say." The clerk looked visibly uncomfortable. "It's against civil code." "Screw your code," I said, glaring. "I'm getting a divorce." I turned to Nathan with cold eyes. Sign the damn paper. I don't love you anymore. And if you keep dragging this out, it's just pathetic. What do I have to gag at the sight of you before you finally sign? With trembling hands, Nathan picked up the pen. His voice quivered. All right, I'll sign. He scribbled his name and tears streamed down his face. And what right did he have to cry? I hadn't even cried the countless nights I lay awake unable to sleep. And now he was the one feeling sorry for himself. That's it, right? I asked coldly, not even angry anymore. I turned to the clerk. Done? The clerk didn't say anything. They stamped the documents and handed me my divorce certificate. I took the certificate and walked out without looking back. Nathan followed. Madison? He called after me. I still can't accept it that we divorced just because of one mistake. But I know I made you feel hurt, made you feel wronged. It was my fault. But could you give me another chance to win you back? Don't erase everything we had over one thing. Please. Good horses don't turn back. Zachary suddenly chimed in from nowhere. There are plenty of men in this world, Madison. Why should he get two chances? He didn't treasure you the first time. That's on him. If you gave him two chances, that wouldn't be fair to me. He wrapped his arm around mine. Let's go. We're done talking to him. In the car, Zach leaned close again. Sis, now that you're divorced, why not give me a chance? You need a man anyway, right? Why can't that man be me? And even if I ended up like Nathan and you dumped me, I swear I wouldn't cling to you like he does. I wouldn't disgust you. Just look at him now. So desperate, so gross. There are so many decent men in the world. Why waste time on him? Get out, I said, shoving Zach out of the car. Driver, let's go. A few days later, Nathan came to see me again. He handed me a stock transfer agreement. These are the Shen Group shares, he said. They're yours, and the 3% you hold in Carter Group, keep it. It was always meant to be yours. I took the agreement and signed without hesitation. If he didn't want anything, so be it. I wasn't going to force it, but I was keeping the Carter shares. He was the one who messed up. I had every right. That's it, I said. You can go. Nathan's eyes turned red again. Madison, I know you don't love Zach, but you don't love me either. I especially don't love you, I said with disdain. I waved him off. Don't bother. He stared at me for a moment, then walked away. At the door, he stopped and turned back. James' song has been fired? Emily didn't pass her internship. I've cut ties with them. I won't see them again. I said nothing. Only then did Nathan finally leave. Back at Shen Group, Jenna came in and said, Madison, Nathan Carter just left. I replied blandly, don't let him in again. If I run into him in public, that's one thing. But on my turf, he's never stepping foot in here again. Miss once, you're out forever. That's my rule. Same goes for love. There are plenty of men in the world. If there's love, I'll handle it seriously. If there's no love, I'll enjoy it while it lasts. But whether it's love or fun, Nathan Carter will never have a place again because he is no longer the best. And I, Madison Shen, deserve only the